Hello, and welcome to Wheels Up. I'm your host, Sierra. Today, we will visit and explore Alaska. Brought to you by the Sunrise Association, Sunrise Studios, and our friends at American Airlines. After our adventure, please join us as we do a very special craft with a very special person. And last, but certainly not least, we will wrap things up with a really fun game of trivia. Are you ready? Let's go on our adventure. Buckle your seatbelts. Here to kick us off is a very special representative from our friends at American Airlines.
Welcome, passengers. I'm American Airlines Captain Deborah Hecker. Welcome on board our very special flight today with service from the Sunrise Association and American Airlines to our breathtaking destination. Today, we'll be landing in the air crossroads of the world, better known as Anchorage, Alaska. So buckle up, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Welcome, adventurers! Did everyone remember to pack your winter coats? Perfect! Because today, American Airlines is flying us all the way up north. That's right, we're taking a trip to Alaska. When you think about Alaska, I bet you're imagining icicles and igloos as far as the eye can see. But believe it or not, our adventure today starts in one of the United States' largest cities, Anchorage. Exactly how big are we talking? How about I answer with fun fact number 1? The city of Anchorage, Alaska is larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. That's enormous! No wonder more than half of the people in Alaska call this mega metropolis home. But humans aren't the only ones who enjoy the city living. In fact, a wide range of animals also live it up here in Anchorage, including black bears, brown bears, wolverines, and mighty magnificent moose. Meese? Wait, no, it's definitely moose. Which reminds me of another fun and spooky fact for you. Every year after Halloween, creatures emerge from the woods to haunt the Anchorage streets. Are they werewolves? Frankenstein's monsters? Nope, just hungry moose here for some snacks. That's right, moose are regularly seen strolling right up to people's porches and helping themselves to Halloween pumpkins. Better watch out for the antlers because those are some super-sized trick-or-treaters. Wow, not only is the wildlife here, well, wild, but the weather in Alaska can get pretty intense as well. It's no surprise that Anchorage gets lots of snow, but did you know that this Alaskan supercity is also surrounded by volcanoes? It's true! Not only do locals have to bundle up through blizzards, but they've also learned to live with falling ash from nearby volcanoes. What an extreme place to live! With all the bad weather, you might be wondering why so many people and animals ended up living here. Well, I'm glad you asked, because we're about to rewind the clock and take you to our next destination. Not a different place, but a different time. Hold on tight, because here we go, all the way back to the Ice Age. Brr, did it get even colder out here? Don't worry, we'll make this a quick visit. I only brought you here to see this, the Bering Land Bridge. About 15,000 years ago, this large landmass formed a bridge between Alaska and what today we'd call Russia, which meant all sorts of travelers, including plants, animals, and people, could start making their way to the New World. Some of these migrating species included animals like elk, wolves, and muskox, but these everyday critters lived and traveled alongside some truly incredible companions. The Bering Land Bridge was also a home to mastodons, woolly mammoths, and Schmittar cats, to name a few. Even ancient lions are thought to have crossed. But the biggest, baddest carnivore to ever call the land bridge home was the giant short-faced bear. This oversized ancestor of modern bears stood 12 feet tall and could run over 40 miles per hour, making them the fastest bear that ever was. But even with giant animals running about, it wasn't long before humans arrived in Alaska. Who were the courageous people crossing a giant bridge full of lions and bears? None other than the Athabascans, Aleuts, Inuit, Yupik, Tlingit, and Haida people, many of whose descendants still live in Alaska today. What did I tell you? This land bridge is pretty nifty, huh? Unfortunately, though, when the Ice Age ended, there were so many glaciers melting that it actually caused sea levels to rise hundreds of feet. The Bering Land Bridge was swallowed up by rising oceans, so the people and animals living in Alaska had to make it their permanent home. Whew! All right, I think that was plenty of Ice Age. Could we fast forward to a less frozen time? What was that? The 18th century? Perfect! This is just where, or should I say, when, we want to be, because during the 18th century is when colonizers first arrived in Alaska. European settlers were among the earliest to set up shop, and soon after the territory was claimed by Russia, but they didn't hold on to it too long. Instead, in 1867, Russia sold Alaska to the United States. Fun fact number 3, between the bitter cold, the active volcanoes, and wandering predators, plenty of Americans thought this was a pretty silly purchase at the time. In fact, many thought it was a huge mistake. But then, they struck gold. In 1896, reports of gold, entire treasure troves worth, started flooding out from Alaska. The result? You guessed it, a gold rush. Over 100,000 prospectors made the perilous journey north to seek their fortune and fame. These treasure hunters trekked across treacherous, ice-covered valleys and over harrowing mountain passes, all while dreaming of riches. But despite all the hype, in the end, only a handful of miners ever found the fabled gold. These thousands of new arrivals in the area may not have been the luckiest bunch, but they did create a population explosion that completely changed Alaska today. With so many new settlers, there were suddenly cities popping up, and with them all sorts of businesses started booming. By 1959, Alaska had not only become an official U.S. state, it had also become a major provider of timber, seafood, and metals. But eventually, a new export stole the #1 spot: oil. Oil is also known as black gold, and just like the gold rush, businesses began rushing to Alaska hoping to get rich. The gold rush had been no good at all for the natural environment, and this new oil rush was even worse. Fortunately, a new industry appeared in Alaska before long: tourism. As more folks just like us started flying to visit Alaska, more and more people fell in love with its stunning landscapes and incredible wildlife. As Americans learned to care about Alaska's animals, waters, mountains, and more, we started realizing how important it is to preserve this environment. Here's a very fun fact. Today, we can proudly proclaim that more than half of Alaskan land is considered protected national parks. Let's take a closer look at some of the natural beauty we're protecting. For starters, did you know that out of the 20 tallest mountains in America, 17 of them are in Alaska? The tallest one of all is called Denali. Fun fact number 5, thanks to its incredible height, Denali is considered one of the 7 summits, the tallest mountains in the world, which include Mount Everest and Mount Kilimanjaro. In addition to its multitude of mountains, Alaska is also home to over 100,000 glaciers of all shapes and sizes. Meanwhile, the oceans and inlets offshore are the perfect place to spot polar bears, walruses, and beautiful beluga whales. With all of these natural splendors, you might wonder what we could possibly be saving for last. I'll give you a hint. It's not a plant or an animal or anything on the ground. In fact, to catch our grand finale, you'll need to look to the skies for, you guessed it, the Northern Lights. Also known as the Aurora Borealis, this astonishing phenomenon is caused by electric particles colliding with gases in our atmosphere. The result? A light show unlike any other. This entrancing dance of colors across the northern skies has earned the Aurora Borealis a well-deserved place as one of the natural wonders of the world. And while I'd love to stay for some cocoa and admire their glow, this borealis is also the perfect place for us to say arrivederci to Alaska because, well, I'm cold. All aboard our flight to go warm up with arts and crafts. Wow, that was so much fun and amazing. Time to get back on board our flight. Our next stop is crafting. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Caroline and I'm so excited to do arts and crafts with you today. Today's video was all about Alaska, so today we're going to make a Northern Lights craft and a moose craft. I hope you have fun!
Alaska. Project 1. Northern Lights Masterpiece. Construction paper, 2 black pieces, scissors, oil or chalk pastels in bright colors and white. Project 2. Moose puppet. Construction paper, 1 brown piece, 1 white piece, 1 paper lunch bag, scissors, markers, crayons, or colored pencils, optional, oil or chalk pastels, and glue.
So I have 2 pieces of black paper, and the first one is going to be my background, and the second one I'm going to cut to be the mountains because there are a lot of mountains in Alaska, and you can see the northern lights from behind the mountains. So that's what I'm going to make it look like. And so the first thing I'm going to do is make the mountains. So you want to make sure that you start at the bottom of your paper so that it lines up, and you're going to make some different mountains. So you can make some really tall and some shorter so that you can see the northern lights in different places. Like this. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold this up to my other piece of black paper, and I have some oil pastels, so you can use these, or you can also use chalk pastels or regular chalk, and that's gonna make it look really cool, and it's really gonna look like the northern lights. So you can use all different colors because it's really, really colorful. And you're gonna hold your mountains on top of the black paper and just color all over on top of the mountains. And I'm gonna make sure to do a lot of different colors. I'm just coloring them upwards like this. And at the end, I'm going to kind of blend it out so that it looks like kind of like streaky, like the real northern lights. And it's okay if you get it onto the mountains because we're not going to use that part. We're just gonna use the background so that when you pull off this piece of black paper with the mountains on it, you get a perfect kind of like silhouette of the mountains. So when I take this off, you can see the mountain shape like this. And now I'm also going to add some different colors. So I'm gonna make sure not to go in the mountain part because that part is supposed to be the mountain shapes, but I'm going to just add some colors to the top. And now I'm going to just kind of take my finger and blend it upwards so that it kind of looks more streaky and like it goes into the sky. So this also works if you're using oil, if you're using chalk pastels, but I'm using some oil pastels. And this is really what the northern lights look like. They kind of like streak up into the sky. And you can also add some more colors to the top, and you can also leave some black, like the night sky. This is what mine looks like. And the final step is I'm going to add some stars. So I'm just gonna take my white oil pastel and add some white dots to make it look like stars in the night sky. And if you don't have chalk pastels or oil pastels, you can also just use markers or paint. It will still work. You'll still get the effect of the mountains being there, and it'll still look really cool. And this is what mine looks like when it's all finished. So as you can see, I added some stars to make it look really like the night sky. The next craft we are going to make is a moose craft, and there are a lot of moose in Alaska, so that's why we're gonna make this craft. And so I have a paper bag and some brown paper and some white paper. And I have a pretty small paper bag, but you can use a big one too. And it's going to be so that it can be a little puppet. The first thing we're going to make are the moose antlers. So I'm gonna take my white paper, and I'm using some cardstock paper because it's a little bit thicker than regular paper so that the antlers can kind of stand up. So I'm gonna fold my paper in half so that I can get both of the antlers, and I'm gonna make sure to cut on the open side of the paper. And I'm gonna draw the shape for you so that you can see it. And what it's going to be like is it's going to be kind of curved at the bottom, like this. And then the top is going to be like that, and then it's gonna be 3 little bumps like this, and then go back down like this. And so now I'm going to cut this out, and this is going to be the antlers for our moose. And it's okay if you don't have cardstock paper. You might just have to hold up the antlers a little bit. But I'm using cardstock because it's a little bit easier and the antlers kind of stand up more on their own. It's just a little bit harder to cut out, but that's okay. Okay. So now I have the antlers, and I'm going to glue them onto my paper bag. So the first one, and I'm gonna make sure to glue them to the back of the paper bag. So you wanna make sure that this is going to be the front, because when you put your hand in, you want the mouth to be able to move like this. So this is gonna be the front, and this is the back. So I'm gonna glue the antlers coming from the back of my paper bag. So I'm gonna put some glue on and stick them to the back so that when you look from this side, they're kind of like coming out from the back of the moose. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, just like this. And now the next thing we're going to make is the eyes. So I'm gonna use my other white paper. I'm gonna fold it in half so that I can get 2 eyes, and I'm going to cut a circle. Like this. And now next, I'm going to cut the moose teeth. So I'm going to cut kind of just a rectangle shape. Like this. And then next, out of my brown paper, I'm going to cut a big oval shape, and this is going to be the moose nose. And then lastly, I'm going to cut out some ears that are going to be kind of like under the antlers. So I'm gonna fold my paper so that I get both of them at the same time. And I'm going to cut a shape like this. And now I'm going to glue everything onto my paper bag. So first I'm going to glue the eyes, and this is gonna go on the top. Like this. And then I'm gonna glue the nose shape, and that's going to go right underneath the eyes, and you can even overlap it with the eyes a little bit so that the very top of it kind of goes over the eyes just a little bit, like this. And then the teeth are going to go right under the nose, and they're actually going to go underneath the paper. So you can put a little bit of glue and you can kind of lift up the nose. You can also do it before you put the nose on, but I'm going to just lift it up and then place it right underneath. Like this. And then I'm going to glue the ears on, and they're going to go kind of on the side of the moose's head, like this. So same thing on the other side. Like that. And then I'm going to draw in the pupils for the eyes. So they go like that, and I'm just making them brown. And you can also use another piece of paper for this part, but I'm just going to color in the eyes. Just like this. So my glue actually kind of got stuck onto my paper bag, but you want to make sure that the mouth is not stuck to this part and that it's only on the top where the paper bag kind of like gets cut. So you want to, if you get any glue on, you can kind of just peel it off very carefully. And now I need to put some more glue on for the tooth. But you want to make sure to do that so that it will actually move when you want the mouth to move like a puppet. So now when you put your hand in, it will move. So you want to make sure that this part isn't stuck to the bottom part over here. So now it can move and you have your very own moose puppet. I hope you had fun making this Northern Lights craft and this moose craft with me. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Wow, we had so much fun crafting with you. We are coming in for a landing to our final destination, an exciting trivia game. I'm going to ask you 10 questions. There will be 4 answers, but only one will be correct. Can you guess the right one? Well, come on, let's play. Welcome to Wheels Up Trivia with Wheels Up with Sunrise on Wheels. Question number 1. The city of Anchorage, Alaska is larger than A, the country of Russia, B, the state of Rhode Island, C, the United States, or D, the state of confusion. How silly! The state of Rhode Island is the correct answer. That's huge! Question number 2. The plural of moose is A, meese, B, mooses, C, mice, or D, moose. Ooh, this is a tricky one. The plural is the same as the singular, moose and moose. Question number 3. Every year, moose arrive in Anchorage so they can A, eat Halloween candy, B, go trick-or-treating, C, wear silly costumes, or D, snack on pumpkins. Well, all of these sound fun. But the moose come to Anchorage to snack on pumpkins. Yum! Question 4. How did people and animals reach Alaska during the Ice Age? A, they walked over a land bridge. B, they swam across an ocean. C, they rode woolly mammoths. Or D, they called a taxi. If you said A, you were correct. They walked over a land bridge. Question number 5. Which animals did not come to Alaska during the Ice Age? A. Lions. B. Tigers. C. Bears. Or D. Bears, but even bigger. Tigers didn't come to Alaska during the Ice Age. Good job! Question number 6. The United States purchased Alaska from A. The Inuit people. B. European settlers. C. Russia. Or D. eBay. Haha. Russia is correct. Question number 7. The gold rush didn't make a lot of miners rich, but it did A. Cause a population increase. B. Turn the miners into moose. Oh my. C. Awaken the Balrog. Or D. Start an ice age. While I appreciate the Lord of the Rings reference, the cause of population increase was what the gold rush did do. More than half of Alaska is considered A. A theme park. B. A national park. C. A parking lot. Or D. Parkour. I'll give you a hint. We did a Wheels Up episode on this. B. A national park. I love national parks. Question number 9. The world's tallest mountains, the 7 summits, do not include A. Mount Kilimanjaro. B. Denali. C. Space Mountain. Or D. Mount Everest. Space Mountain is correct, but it's a super fun ride in Disney World. And our final question, number 10. The aurora borealis are caused by A. Electric particles and gases. B. A gassy wizard. C. Electric gases and imagination. Or D. Moose science. Well, I don't know what moose science is, but it sounds fun. Electric particles and gases are what cause the aurora borealis. Thank you so much for playing trivia with me today with Wheels Up with Sunrise on Wheels.
Yay! You did such a great job with games trivia. Thank you so much for tuning in on today's episode of Wheels Up. I had such a blast going on that adventure, crafting, and playing that fun game of trivia with you. You can tune into more Wheels Up episodes on our Sunrise Studios app, downloadable on your mobile phones, iOS and Android, also your Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We can't wait to see you on our next flight with Wheels Up, brought to you by the Sunrise Association, Sunrise Studios, and our friends at American Airlines. Bye!